Welcome to the Matrix 4 review. I'm actually not doing the glasses. Fuck that. They don't even look like Morpheus glasses. And, yeah. Anyway, Matrix 4 Resurrections. What did I think of it? This is going to be spoiler free, so if you're here for a spoiler video, this is not the one. And, spoiler free in my terms, I'm going to do the best I can. I always recommend go see the film first. I personally don't like watching any reviews for any films if I don't want any spoilers whatsoever, because I consider anything a spoiler. So unless I basically describe the trailer, there's going to be some things here and there when I describe the plot as basic as I can. But I won't, get obviously too much into it. And too detailed oriented, or I'll try my best not to anyway. But what we have going on here is a sequel for sure. This is a very meta sequel. I really like how they treat the first three films, the original trilogy, into the story of this film. So basically, there's a plot point in this film that uses the first three films as pieces of fiction. So that's what I mean by meta. Similar to, like if you're watching Halloween 3, you'll see them play Halloween in the background kind of thing. There are clips shown here and there for like half a second at a time. Flashbacks of the original film, which kind of play for like nostalgia and stuff like that. But it also takes place or it has to do with the plot kind of thing. Neo in this film is back in the Matrix. Now, he is a video game designer, and that's his role in the Matrix kind of thing. There is a reason why he's back in the Matrix, and there is a reason why he does not remember anything that occurred, in the first film. Trinity is also back. She does have a different name temporarily, but the character of Trinity is in these films. And we also have the character Morpheus is back. He's a different actor, and they do change around his kind of behavior and motives very much to the plot, but I won't get into details of that for spoiler reasons. And they have a Agent Smith that's also new. I guess you could call it Agent Smith 2.0. But basically, Neo is in the Matrix, and he's dealing with nightmares. He has these visions of kind of deja vu, in a sense. He has this therapist or counselor played by Neil Patrick Harris. Love seeing Neil Patrick Harris in this film. And he's being counseled by him and basically told that, they're practicing with CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, to kind of convince Neo and make him realize that all these things are, in his head and his imagination, because him being a video game designer and video game programmer, the plot basically starts in the first act where he's so mentally driven into these games that he created, the first trilogy of the first three films, which are now in this Matrix fourth film, video games that he apparently created. So at the end of the third film and at the end of Revolutions, got confused with those two. At the end of Matrix Revolutions, he was given to the machines, as we remember. And there was a connection between Neo and the machines, which is explained in this film, that created a bond between humans and machines. So the plot, especially in the second act, starts to go into that direction, where there's, in Zion and in the real world, there's a huge link between the machines and humans. And they play off that a lot. There is some red herrings, and there is big switches in who you think is villainous and who you think is the good guys. That happens a couple times, I would say. But one time in particular is very big and dramatic, and I didn't really see coming, but when it was explained, I was like, how did I not see that coming? It's kind of weird. But I will say overall, as a whole of the film, I liked the third act the least. I liked the first and the second act very much, and I thought that it was a good play to continue the Matrix story in a very clever way, because it's hard to kind of follow up a trilogy when the trilogy concludes in a sense, and where you can take the story to where it's gonna make sense still for as a plot and as a narrative. And I think they did fairly well with this. They even play around with Neo and change him around a bit. He has the long hair now, and he looks like Neo did in the real world in the first three films, but in the Matrix he's changed. There is a part in the film too where the way Neo sees himself and the way other people view Neo is different. So there's briefly like two different versions of Neo in this film, the way Neo sees himself and the way everybody else in the Matrix sees Neo. The only two characters I missed very much is it's well definitely Smith. I really wish that the original Agent Smith came back. They tried to revamp this Smith and take him into a completely different direction, but the original Agent Smith coming back is the part, or not coming back, I should say, is the part that I definitely missed the most. And then Morpheus. Morpheus, they tried to make humorous and more like laid back Morpheus, and to me it just didn't work at all. Like Morpheus is like that badass wise character, and like he's the shit. He's like Morpheus, he's like the brains of the whole operation. And in this one he's just kind of a jokester, but still like going back and forth between badass and jokester, and it's just kind of weird because it really didn't fit. And that adds into my other point, is all the humor that they tried to put in this film to make it comical here and there is just weird. It doesn't fit in a Matrix film, and it doesn't fit in this one at all. I don't know if they were trying to modernize it, but it just didn't work for me, and that's a me thing. Maybe a lot of people will love that this Matrix went a little bit funnier at times. It didn't work for me at all, pretty much. But yeah, those are the two characters that I wish, not that I wish necessarily that Lawrence Fishburne came back, because I don't think they would be able to utilize that version of Morpheus in a very clever way, the way that they did with the guy who plays Morpheus in this movie. And then the ending was kind of, it wasn't a downer ending, but it was left flat. That's the best way I could describe it. Just a very flat, like kind of fizzled off ending, and they could have just amped a lot more and left a lot more conclusion to it, or at least a better send off to another film if they're planning on making one. But it is what it is. It wasn't all that bad. I enjoyed the film for the most part, for sure. It got a 3.5 out of 5 from me on Letterboxd. Another thing I liked about this film very much so is how they played with like modern politics and modern social stuff, and they didn't go overboard with wokeness, because that's one thing that I find very easily done, and can really break a film a lot of times. And in this one they did it in very clever and subtle ways, especially with Trinity's character and how they made her like a strong female character, but in a good, well played out, well written, smart way. And other things about just like pieces of dialogue here and there that would kind of hint at one guy at one point says, like, ever since Neo the One or whatever joined the machines and changed whatever, I always felt that I could finally be free and express myself freely and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what, that kind of dialogue is clever. That's, it doesn't throw it in your face. It hints at something that you can understand and buy into, and it just works. And I like that. I like that the Leo Wachowski wrote the film in that way, where it's not so heavy-handed, and it's instead, clever. Like, it doesn't have to spoon-feed the audience like so many films do. And a lot of films, like I said, that want to bring in the politics and bring in all these social messages, just like throw them so hard at you, and they they expect to like spoon feed the audience, and it comes across as cheesy and mediocre, basically. Anyways, Matrix Resurrections was a very well resurrected series for me, and a good entry. And it was filled with nostalgia, which really, really worked for me. And all the nostalgic cues and everything were great. And the new actors were great. The actor who plays Morpheus was awesome. Like, that's the thing. He's such a great actor. I just didn't like how he was written to be all jokey every once in a while. It just didn't work. And Neil Patrick Harris also nails his role in this film. He's doing really well himself in anything that he shows up in. He's a great actor. So yeah, it was all great. Neil's awesome. Trinity's awesome. They were all a-okay. So that's my take. That's my spoiler-free take anyway on the Matrix Resurrections, and I would say definitely go check it out for sure. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you'd like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon. Stay tuned for them. Check out what's on the channel. I got so many Christmas reviews that I just finished. But now we are moving on to a new year and new subject matter. So till next review, have a great night. Take care. And till next time, cheers.